Hey guys, CJ here, back with another movie review, going solo this time, talking about the Craig Zobel directed movie, The Hunt. So this movie is a bit interesting. I'll say off rip, I feel the movie isn't as clever as it tries to be, right? The whole basis of the film is it's basically loosed off of this short story called The Most Dangerous Game. There's been other films that have played upon this trope, whether it's Hard Target or Surviving the Game. And the whole idea of it follows these 12 people who are being hunted, who wake up, in this clearing, and they find out that they've been chosen to kind of be part of this game to be hunted by these group of elites. And the whole facility is called Manor House and stuff. So at the outset, as you're watching the film, the movie kind of plays upon the whole idea of liberals and conservatives, aka deplorables. Like, the whole basis of it is these elite people who are hunting these deplorable people. And, deplorables was something that was used during the election years ago and stuff. And what was interesting is that the people that are the hunters are the rich elites, liberal people who, throughout the movie, Glenn Howerton being one of them, they're kind of being very PC about stuff. They're very kind of like, on some like, oh, white people fucking it up for us and all that stuff. And just feeling as though that they are on the right side of history, not even realizing that what they're doing makes them horrible people for it. But then on the other side, you have the deplorables, I'm putting this in air quotes, that are just confused and stuff. And there are parts in the movie where the people that are the deplorables, they have that kind of conservative mindset. And it kind of brings to mind the first issue with the movie is that there doesn't seem to be a bit of a balance. Because it seems as though the movie kind of leans more so towards, like poking fun at the liberal, the liberal characters, more so than the conservative characters. Because the conservative characters, you kind of give off the vibe that like you feel bad for them because they're just like, yo, why the fuck are we being hunted? And then as the movie progresses and stuff, and you get some backstory on the people that are being hunted, you're still kind of sitting back like, so that like really and it feels a bit lopsided because for a movie that's supposed to be poking fun at both sides, it doesn't feel as though the balance is there. It feels like it's just more so poking fun way more on one side than the other and stuff. Sure, you have your little jokes, like one of the characters pokes fun at like one of the people they come across as being actors and they're just faking and stuff. Look at the baby, and they make kind of like immigrant jokes and stuff. And it's like, okay, that's funny, it's messed up, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't carry that same weight and balance compared to all the pot shots they're taking at like the liberal elite people in this movie. What's interesting is that there's a turning point in the movie where the film basically ditches that whole idea, and you end up following one of the characters, Crystal, who's played by Betty Gilpin. And what's interesting about her character is that she really doesn't fit into any political spectrum in the film. She's a former military person that's just trying to survive and try to make sense of all this, because in her head, this is all ridiculous. And it's kind of interesting that the movie shifts this way, because then you're like, well, what's the point of having this whole thing of like deplorable, the rich liberal elites versus these quote unquote deplorables that they're calling them and stuff, if like you don't really like, once the movie literally kicks off with just they're literally mopping the floor of people left and right. And once they finally key in on Crystal, that's when the story really picks up, and the whole political thing just kind of goes out the window and stuff. Yeah, again, where I say the movie kind of loses that whole thing of being fair on both sides and stuff, it kind of leans in on the absurdity of how people poke fun of, people that are liberal, very left leaning and stuff, mainly, white people and stuff. And it's like, that's cool, but it felt like it was a little kind of like on the nose, kind of like really just beating you over the head with it. Because you were really more concerned about Crystal, who really doesn't have, again, she doesn't have a political allegiance and stuff. And Hilary Swank plays Athena. She's the one that's kind of leading this whole thing. And it really boils down to the whole, I guess, lesson of the movie is the whole thing about misinformation and how this could lead to this, this scenario and stuff. But you really kind of come out of it like kind of scratching your head like, was this supposed to have a message? And I know somebody might sit there and feel as though, well, did you go into this movie expecting to have a message? No, but like a lot of the build up and when you watch the first like 20 minutes of the movie and stuff, it gives off this illusion that it's pushing a message, so to speak. But whatever message that is trying to push in an unknowing way, it doesn't really work, And that's not, and it's not to say anything else about like the actors and actresses that are in the film because they work. You get Ike Barinholtz, you got Emma Roberts and stuff. She's in it. Justin Hartley and stuff. They're in it, but they play their role and they're done and stuff. And you don't really get enough time to really, again, when you strike the balance and stuff, you get a general idea of these liberal elite hunters and what they're about. But you don't really know much of anything about the people that are being hunted other than like Crystal. And I think one of the truckers, I think Justin Hartley plays one of the truckers and stuff. And you don't really get much in the way of like, well, no, not Justin Hartley. I forgot the guy's name. It's the old man. Basically, you don't get much of a understanding of these characters to a degree to really want to, empathize with them other than just, oh, they're being hunted by these rich people. Damn, this sucks, kind of thing. Like I said, the action is fine when it's there. The way it's filmed, like I said, everything in terms of the story is very quick and to the point. But I don't know, it felt weird in the sense of when you get halfway in the movie, they just kind of ditched it all together just to kind of hyper focus on Crystal and her plight, which again I think is fine. But I think if they had just kept it simple with just like, hey, the rich versus the people that are not rich or something, and just kept it on that simple angle, you would have had something there to where you can really feel for them. And again, I feel the movie does a great job of having those tense, scary moments because they do exist and stuff because these are people being hunted, obviously. And there are like a lot of moments of just tense and like, oh my god, this is fucked up. But you kind of come out of it just like, the movie is simple to the point, but I don't know. It just felt like it could have did more with what it was really doing. And that's why I said that to me, if you're going to take pot shots at this whole idea of like, hey, let's make fun of these liberal white people and stuff like that, you can have that balance of if you're going to do this whole thing of liberals versus conservatives, you got to do more things to really enhance why these people are deplorables, what makes them conservative in the eyes of these liberal hunters and stuff. And I don't think the movie really did a good job of showing that because as far as we know, these are people that they feel just shouldn't be part of society for whatever dumb reason and stuff, for simple shit. And the movie could have did a better job of explaining it overall on that end. And it's a shame because I think once you move past that and stuff and you focused on the Crystal character, you're more keyed in on her and her plight and her reaction to just everything that's happening and stuff. And to be honest with you, I think Betty Gilpin does a really good job of carrying that character and stuff, and her kind of like, I am just more focused on getting the fuck up out of here versus whatever political spectrum that everybody else is keyed in on and stuff. And I think her character works in that regard and stuff. And it's just everybody else that is either teamed up with her or opposite of her. It just doesn't necessarily drive, particularly with a lot of the people that are quote unquote deplorables that are with her and stuff. So, but yeah, overall, I think the movie, like I said, is a very quick and to the point film. It's hard for me to really be hyped for the film. Would I watch it again? I probably watch it again, but knowing what the film is actually doing, it's like, all right, you can kind of put it at ease at that point and just watch it for what it is and stuff. But I think a lot of the political stuff, they could have made it a lot better to kind of get the point across of what they're doing and stuff. Because yes, they're poking fun at one side, but you don't really get that balance where you're feeling as though they're really poking fun at both sides of the spectrum here. You know, it's just that kind of imbalance kind of throws off whatever story that they were trying to tell with that political angle and stuff, and maybe that's why they ditched that whole thing halfway through the movie. So if I had to give this a grade, I would probably lean at about like 6.5 out of 10. But like I said, it's a very simple and to the point movie. You'll probably, I think some people will probably enjoy it. I think others will probably watch it and be like, all right, well, that was an interesting watch. And others might be like me, where you'll just sit back and be like, man, it could have been better. So it is what it is. But that's The Hunt. And yeah, I will definitely catch you guys later. Peace.